In this video, we're going to learn about equivalent ratios and rates, ways to determine if certain rates or ratios are equivalent or are equal or are proportional. They all mean the same thing. Make sure that you're filling out your notes as you watch the video. Pause it when necessary so that you can stay caught up in your note-taking. Okay, we've already learned that we can use ratio tables to compare different ratios or rates to determine if they are equivalent. Well, there are two other methods that we can also use that might be a little bit easier than drawing out a ratio table. And the first method is to find the unit rate. We can simplify each rate or ratio to their simplest form or convert them to unit rates. Remember, a unit rate is when you find out how much for one. It's that per one. If they are the same when they are in the simplest form, then they are equivalent. And another word for equivalent is proportional. It means the same thing. So let's do an example. With this example, we're going to use the unit rate. And not all the time is it going to be easy to find the unit rate. If you can't divide and get a whole unit rate, then it might just be easier to simplify that rate or ratio. Okay, $60 spent in 24 hours. First thing we're going to do is write the rate, and we want to write it in fraction form. Make sure you include labels. $60 spent in 24 hours. And the reason why we want to include the labels is we want to make sure that we are putting the money amounts in the same location. We don't want to switch it out and write the hours at the top part because that doesn't go with, that's not in the same form. It's not in the same order. So it's an entirely different rate or ratio. Okay, and we've talked about this, how almost all the time your money is going to be your numerator or the first part of your ratio. Anything dealing with time will be the second part. So here are our two rates. Okay, can I evenly divide 24 into 60 to find the unit rate? No. So I'm just going to simplify. I know that I can divide both of these by 6. And it's going to give me a 10:4 rate or ratio. They're both even, so I can simplify further by dividing by 2. And I get a 5:2 ratio. $5 spent in 2 hours. I'm going to do the same thing. Is 28 evenly divisible by 8? No. So let's just simplify. I know I can divide both by 4. And I'm going to get a 7:2 ratio. This cannot be simplified further. So are they in simplest form? Yes. Are they equivalent? Are they equal? No. Although their hours are the same, they both have 2 hours, the amount of money they make in those 2 hours are different. One makes $5, the other makes $7. So they are not equivalent. Example 2. Jessica does 60 jumping jacks in 2 minutes. So here's 60 jacks. The time, as usual, will be the second part of our rate, 2 minutes. Dale does 150 jacks in 5 minutes. So here's our rate. Okay, I'm going to start with Jessica. Can I find the unit rate easily? Yes, 60 is divisible by 2. So for 1 minute, when I divide by 2, Jessica does 30 jacks. She does 30 jacks per minute. Coming over here, is 150 divisible by 5 evenly? Yes, it is. So I can divide both by 5. And it's going to give me that Dale does 30 jacks in 1 minute. Are they in their simplest form? Definitely. Yes. And are they equivalent? Well, Jessica does 30 jacks per minute and Dale does 30 jacks per minute. So yes, they are equivalent. They are equal. You can also say they are proportional. Method 2, proportions. We can set up a proportion. Well, we just talked about proportional meaning that they are equal. So proportions are when we set two ratios or rates equal to each other. If they are equivalent, which means equal, you can multiply by the same scale factor to go between the ratios. So let's do our first example. We want to determine if the following pair of ratios are equivalent. 9 purple hats to yellow hats to 11 yellow hats, and 45 purple hats to 70 yellow hats. So let's go ahead and set it up. Our first ratio is 9 purple to 11 yellow. So 9, I'm going to put a P for purple. 11, I'm going to put a Y for yellow. Our second is 45 purple to 70 yellow. So 45 purple to 70 yellow. Okay, this is our proportion. We have two rates and we want to set them equal to each other. We want to know, are they proportional? Are they actually equal to each other? So let's use a scale factor. I cannot go from 11 to 70 with a whole number scale factor, but I can go from 90 to 45, and to get there I would multiply by 5. So what happens when I multiply 11 times 5? Do you get 70? No, 11 times 5 is 55, not 70. In order for these two rates to be proportional, we would have had to have 55 yellow hats in this second rate. And it's not, it's 70. So no, they are not equal. Do they have the same scale factor? No. Are they equivalent? No. Second example, determine if the following pair of ratios are equivalent. So we're going to have 27 grams of fat. So I'm going to put 27 fat in 9 servings. Make sure you include your label. And we're going to compare that to see if they're equal to 18 grams of fat in 6 servings. So here's 18 fat and 6 servings. Okay, so the scale factor, you can see there's nothing, no whole number scale factor that we can multiply 9 by to make a 6 or 27 by to make 18. But this is when we go horizontally. You can also find scale factors going vertically. I can see, let me do this a different color, that I can go from 9 servings to 27, 9 to 27, by multiplying by a scale factor of 3. Now we need to use the same scale factor over here and multiply the 6 times 3. And when we multiply the 6 times 3, we get 18. And is that what we have here? Yes, it is. So are these two rates equivalent? They are. Do they have the same scale factor? Yes. They both had a scale factor of multiplying by 3. Are they equivalent? Yes, they are. If one method doesn't work, try the other method. This is a hint. What you could have done here, instead of looking for the vertical scale factor, is you could have simplified. Let me do it in blue. I could simplify. Actually, I could find the unit rate here because 9 divides into 27 with no remainder. So if I find the unit rate, this would be a 3 to 1. Come over here, find the unit rate. Let me put a box around it to keep it separate. 6 divides into 18 3 times, so this would be a 3 to 1 unit rate as well, and they're the same. Okay, I think you're ready to do your independent practice.